Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem, and in today's top stories. The International Court of Justice rejects South Africa's demand to force Israel to cease its offensive in the Gaza Strip. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reasserts Israel's intention to fight on until all of Jerusalem's war objectives are achieved. Israeli relatives of hostages in Hamas captivity demand an end to the delivery of humanitarian aid until all of the hostages are returned to Israel. The International Court of Justice in The Hague, or ICJ, has rejected South Africa's demand for a provisional ruling to force Israel to cease its offensive against Islamist Hamas and affiliated terror groups in the Gaza Strip. However, the court did stress the need for Israel to immediately take action to ensure its military does not break the Genocide Convention, and that it must prevent and punish incitement to genocide, while further enhance the delivery of humanitarian aid into the terror-ridden territory. In tandem, the so-called ICJ further asserted that all parties to the conflict in the Gaza Strip are bound by international humanitarian law, including Hamas, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and other internationally designated terror groups that breached every law possible many times over, including the Genocide Convention. Meanwhile, the ICJ did order Israel to report on all measures taken to give effect to the provisional order outlined by the court. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu emphasized that Israel will remain firm in its just fight against terror.
Israel's commitment to international law is unwavering. Equally unwavering is our sacred commitment to continue to defend our country and defend our people. Like every country, Israel has an inherent right to defend itself. The vile attempt to deny Israel this fundamental right is blatant discrimination against the Jewish state, and it was justly rejected. The charge of genocide leveled against Israel is not only false, it's outrageous, and decent people everywhere should reject it. On the eve of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, I again pledge as Israel's Prime Minister, never again. Israel will continue to defend itself against Hamas, a genocidal terror organization.
Meanwhile, IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi met with field commanders of the 98th Division, which operates in the southern Gaza Strip, and voiced his deep appreciation for their unrelenting determination to press on.
שבוע הערכה עצומה. אני באמת חושב שקרה כאן דבר גם במונחים היסטוריים של לחימה עם אויב, כמות בעיות לקילומטר מרובע, בניינים גבוהים, אזור צפוף, הרבה אוכלוסייה, הרבה אויב, תת קרקע, המון מלכודים, צלפים, חבלה רבה מאוד. וזה אומר שרמת הלחימה הייתה מאוד גבוהה. זה אומר שהרוח הייתה מאוד חזקה. זה אומר שרמת הפיקוד והמנהיגות ורמת החיילות היו מאוד גבוהות, והמילואים מביאים יתרון מאוד גדול, ניסיון, יכולת להתאים את עצמם לדברים החדשים מאוד מאוד מהר, ולא ללכת ראש בקיר להביא פתרון אחר. ראינו את זה קורה, אני רואה את זה בין הביקורים, בצורה מאוד מרשימה. ולכן אני אומר לכם, ותעבירו את זה לכל האנשים. 3 סימני קריאה, הערכה עצומה.
While the IDF continues to degrade the military and governing infrastructure of the Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates in the Gaza Strip, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the IDF's Gaza Division forward headquarters at the Re'im base, which was subject to the horrors that were committed on October 7th.
כאן במקום הזה, ב7 באוקטובר, נפלו חיילות וחיילים, טובי בנותינו ובנינו, השם יקום דמם. והיום אנחנו נוטעים עצים באדמה רוויית הדם והיגון הזאת, עצים חיים לזכרם. החמאס בא לעקור אותנו, אנחנו נעקור אותו. החמאס בא להכחיד אותנו, אנחנו נכחיד אותו. אנחנו נעמיק את שורשנו בארצנו, אנחנו נעקור את אויבינו. אנחנו נהיה כאן והם לא יהיו שם. והדבר החשוב ביותר, אנחנו נמשיך לבנות את היישובים, את המושבים, את הקיבוצים, אנחנו נפריח אותם הרבה מעבר למה שהיה, ואנחנו מחויבים להשיג את הניצחון המוחלט. הניצחון המוחלט פירושו חיסול חמאס, החזרת כל חטופינו, אנחנו לא מוותרים על היעד הזה. ולכן בט"ו בשבט, כאן ליד רצועת עזה, אני אומר בצורה הכי ברורה, אין תחליף להעמקת שורשינו, ואין תחליף לניצחון מוחלט על אויבינו. שיהיה לכולנו חג שמח.
Well, the Israeli premier planted a tree with the hope of revitalizing the land in defiance of those who seek to uproot the Jewish state. Hundreds of foreign supporters of Israel have chosen to volunteer, helping struggling farmers facing a short of helping hands in light of the prolonged Hamas-instigated war.
And I was walking around my school and people were saying, where are you going for vacation? I'm sure you're going to go to Florida, maybe the Bahamas, maybe on a cruise. And I said, no, I'm going to Israel. And they said, why would you want to go to a war front? And I said, I just feel like I want to be part of this and help out and just do my part.
Well, we chose to come to Israel to help because it's hard to sit at home in Los Angeles and watch what's happening and not want to do something. And this was something we could do to come and help whoever needed help. And it's mostly farmers. And so we are doing whatever we're asked to do.
The farmers could not survive without the help of the volunteers. The volunteers they're filling the gap, and they're crucial to the agricultural world in Israel. Without them, many farmers would collapse.
Meanwhile, British Foreign Secretary David Cameron visited Turkey today, during the course of which he highlighted London's hope to see an immediate humanitarian pause implemented.
I think the prospects of achieving a pause where we stop the fighting and start looking at how to get aid in and hostages out, I think there is a prospect of that, and I want there to be a prospect of that, because of course a pause would be great for hostages, good for aid, and we might be able to turn that into the sustainable ceasefire that we want without a return to fighting. That's what I've been in the region talking about, and I think we are making some progress.
The British Foreign Secretary went on to stress his aspiration to see additional aid enter into the Gaza Strip and alluded to the UK's intentions to ratchet up pressure on Israel to follow through on this matter.
Well, I would like Ashdod to open because it's a proper port. We could get aid in there. We'd be able to move more aid from there into Gaza. But the crucial figure here is 500 trucks a day. That's what we need to go into Gaza at least. Now, some days we get close to 200 trucks, but that's not enough. So I want to see every bottleneck be removed. Nitzana checkpoint to be open 24/7. Kerem Shalom to be open 7 days a week. The UN to have the visas and the cars, the armoured cars they need to move aid around Gaza. The IDF allowing the aid workers to move around Gaza and provide the aid that's needed. But of course, Ashdod opening would be another massive way of getting aid in, and it's absolutely essential that we get that aid in. I made the case to the Israeli government. They are considering it, but I know that it's going to take a lot of pushing before we get that fixed.
Responding to the Foreign Secretary's remarks, which essentially echo the position of the Biden administration, Israeli government spokesman Elon Levy noted that while calls are made on Israel, any claims of Israel impeding aid into the Gaza Strip does not correlate with reality on the ground.
Humanitarian update. We note British Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron's call for more crossing points to be open for longer for aid deliveries, including Kerem Shalom. In that context, we draw your attention to the fact that Kerem Shalom has excess capacity for aid deliveries if international actors send it. We also note that Kerem Shalom is currently closed on Saturdays because the United Nations has asked for it to be shut in order that it be able to process the pileup on the other side.
While Israel continues to allow for humanitarian aid to enter into the Gaza Strip, Israeli relatives of hostages that are being held captive by Hamas have escalated their protests along entry routes into the Gaza Strip.
We are here because the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, didn't stop the humanitarian trucks over there, hundreds of humanitarian trucks come inside to Gaza Strip, and only for one side, only for the Palestinians. There's no humanitarian steps for our hostages over there. There's no Red Cross visiting. There's no food. There's no sign of life. We don't know who is alive there or who is dead. We don't know nothing. It's unbelievable and unacceptable that the humanitarian trucks come inside to Gaza Strip, and if the Prime Minister didn't do his job, we will do it here instead of him.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I'd like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Moreover, it is important to highlight that TV7 Israel is a donation-based non-profit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by our daily updates and would like to help us bear the costs, please consider making a donation. You can do so by visiting our website, www.tv7israelnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.